हेलो यूट्यूब के मतलब खान, और आप देख रहे हैं दार्सी गेमर। इस बार वीडियो देख रहे हैं। इस वीडियो का नाम है मलिसा बरीरा कंफर्म द जनरा ऑफ योर मॉन्स्टर कॉमिक कॉन 2024। ओके, तो स्टार्ट करते हैं इस वीडियो को।
You're watching IGN at Comic Con. Your Monster is a rom com horror movie about falling in love with a horribly lovely beast that lives in your closet. Here to tell me all about it is the star of Monster, Melissa Barrera.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to have you here. How's your Comic Con been?
It's been great. It's my first ever. So
Oh, wow.
I'm excited to be here.
That's
really cool.
It's a big experience
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, your Monster does not hit theaters until October, but you have already had such high accolades at your festival run. What's that been like?
I've never experienced this before. It's been incredible to go to different cities and see audiences of like cinema lovers, because that's who go to festivals really. And just see it play so well, and people really laughing and enjoying themselves and being moved by it. And I think it just makes me more excited to share it when it comes out in theaters, to share it with everyone.
Definitely. So this definitely is in your wheelhouse in the sense that it's still very genre bendy. So what's the most exciting aspect of exploring something that doesn't stay beholden to like must be straight horror, must be straight romance, etc.?
I mean, I think nowadays, where it feels like we're missing original content, where every other movie is a reboot or a sequel of something that we already know, or retelling. This movie is completely original, and it feels very unique and different. And I think what Caroline Lindy, our director, did was take a big swing, and luckily it landed well. And so I'm excited for people to go and see it and see that there's different kinds of things and different kinds of movies in the indie world that they can be going to see and supporting, to feed that need of original content.
Yeah. So, in that same vein, obviously when people see the trailer, they see promotions for it. They lean straight into Beauty and the Beast. How did you subvert that as you were approaching the story?
I honestly didn't even think about that at all. It wasn't until people started mentioning it once they saw the movie in festivals that I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess." Because our monster kind of looks like a real life version, a hot real life version of the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, which, like, I guess Beauty and the Beast, the cartoon, was also hot. I mean, I remember being very attracted to the
human,
Beast. I know.
and you were like,
Everybody
ew,
was like, "Ew,
go
go back
back."
to the Beast." Yeah. So people are going to be very satisfied with your monster, because he is just a beast. But I didn't even think about the Beauty and the Beast aspect. I guess because it's a romance, people, lean into that. But I genuinely think that other than there being a beast in the movie, a monster, it's just a completely different story.
We talked about the bending genre, etc. Would you call it more of a horror comedy a horror comedy romance or a comedy horror romance?
A romantic comedy horror is what I would, with some musical elements, because there's music in there too.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's very
Yeah, it's my perfect movie. It's everything I like. Horror, yes. Rom-com, yes. Musicals, yes. It's not a musical. There's just some songs in there. But yeah, I think it's more of a dark rom-com is how I would describe it.
Yeah.
Because it's not a horror per se. It has some horror elements, and it's not a straight rom-com because it has darkness to it. So I would say that it's a dark rom-com.
Okay. I have to go back to the musical part of it because I am obsessed with musicals. Do you sing?
Same. Yes. I do some singing. Yeah. There's some
वाह।
cool original songs in there.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you've talked about your love of indies, both in previous interviews and today. Is that a sandbox that you want to continue playing in for a little while before going back to like the big tentpole situation?
I mean, I think it's always a balance, right? I think I gravitate towards whatever, story or character I fall in love with. I don't really think of like, I'm only going to do indies now from now on, or I'm only going to focus on big studio movies. I kind of just go with the flow of whatever doors open themselves up to me. I do think that there's something really special about the creativity that is allowed in indie movies because they're, you know, smaller budgets and people that are willing to take risks and do original things and mix genres that shouldn't really feel like they should work, but then they do because of the nature of the vision of the director. And I think sometimes in big studios, the director's vision gets compromised by like what the executives want or what the executives think the audiences want, which is weird. But I do think that indies are what is keeping cinema alive.
Agree. So, in that exact same space, what about your monster made you fall in love with this indie process?
I think the fact that I felt I knew that we had a limited amount of time to do it. We had 20 days to shoot this movie, and it was a very ambitious project.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to make it work. And it feels like you're back in school. Like I felt like I was back in college making like a final project with my friends. You know, and it was fun and we were all in it in the trenches together, and you have to solve the issues that come up when, you know, you don't have the luxury of like, we'll reschedule this for another day. You can't. So you have to kind of just problem solve. And I
Yeah.
think that teaches you a lot about your limits as an artist, how far you can go, how you can push yourself, and how creative you can get to like get things on camera as in the time that you need to. So I think I really enjoyed this specific process because it felt like going back to my roots and like that, you know, that hungry student with a lot of dreams that just wanted to make something great and something meaningful. It's something that would connect with a lot of people, you know, even if it's for no money, you know, and it's like tiny and you're all, you know, it was the director's first movie. So you're all learning together and it's very collaborative and you really feel like you're a part of a team because you're all there together.
Yeah. You mentioned the breakneck pace that you have.
काफ़ी इन्फॉर्मेशन इसमें आपको मिल रही होगी इस इंटरव्यू के बारे में। और ये आप ये तकरीबन से 2 मिनट का है, तो देखते हैं इंटरव्यू बाकी का।
Have to meet when you're shooting an indie because, you know, for those who don't, you know, follow it, you have to stick to that budget or that timeline because that's the budget that you reach in. But you get so close when you're in the trenches like that, and you get so close when you're sprinting like that, and that always leans into hilarious moments on set.
Oh yeah.
What was the funniest moment that happened behind the scenes on your monster?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there were so many. I don't think I've laughed as much as I did shooting this movie in any other project. Like it was just constant hilarity and there was a lot of improv in the movie, so it felt like almost like live theater and the entire crew would like laugh too behind the camera. So it was a very genuinely fun process. I cannot tell you of like a single moment. I like there were so many, like when we were shooting the final sequence, which is like in a big theater, that was super fun. We had a sequence in the rain where we were shooting in a park. It was like 2 a.m. and we had to be out of the park by like 3. And it was like after a football game, so there were drunk people like coming out of bars and like making it really difficult for us to shoot. And then it started raining, but it was the kind of rain that doesn't register on camera, so you just keep going. And it was like it was so disastrous that it was hilarious.
You just can't help but laugh.
And we did it. We did it. It's in the movie.
Melissa, thank you so much. Your Monster hits theaters this October, so don't miss it. We've got tons more at Comic-Con ahead, so stick with IGN. You're watching. So stick with IGN.
ये पहली बार मैंने जो है रिएक्शन वीडियो एक इंटरव्यू भी बनाई है और ये इंटरव्यू काफ़ी बड़ा था, लेकिन इसमें काफ़ी इंफॉर्मेशन थी इस वीडियो में, तो ये वीडियो काफ़ी अच्छी थी। सो आई होप आपकी वीडियो पसंद आई हो तो सब्सक्राइब करें मेरे चैनल द अर्सी गेमर। बाय।